Just in, Prime Minister Narendra Modi has congratulated Tarique Rahman on leading the Bangladesh Nationalist Party to what he is describing as a decisive victory in Bangladesh's parliamentary elections. In a message he has just posted on X, our Prime Minister has said, "This victory reflects the trust of the people of Bangladesh in Tarique Rahman's leadership." In fact, Prime Minister Modi has added that India will continue to stand in support of a democratic, progressive and inclusive Bangladesh, and expressed his intent to work with the incoming leadership to strengthen bilateral ties. This message is diplomatically significant. It's come in quickly after Tarique Rahman has claimed victory on social media already. Saurabh Gupta tracking the latest for us at the moment. Saurabh, a message coming in from India, from the Prime Minister fairly quickly, even though official results have not been declared in the neighbourhood. Preliminary outcomes suggest that it is the BNP that will be leading the nation, and Prime Minister Modi says he's looking forward to working with the leadership in Bangladesh now.
Yes, that's right. In fact, the Prime Minister's suite has just come in, and this is, of course, a congratulatory message to Tarique Rahman, who is set to become the Prime Minister of Bangladesh. And therefore, this is Prime Minister to Prime Minister conversation, even though he's not, officially taken over. But it's a foregone conclusion now that, of course, with the victory that the BNP has achieved under Tarique Rahman's leadership, and Tarique Rahman being the leader of the BNP, he will be the next Prime Minister of Bangladesh. Bangladesh will have a politically elected Prime Minister with a political mandate, and the message from Prime Minister Modi also is quite important in terms of the neighborhood. Remember, relations between India and Bangladesh haven't been great under the interim government, but there has been an effort to sort of work on it. There is a realization on both sides that India and Bangladesh are neighbors and they have to work together, and that is something that is in each other's interest, and therefore we see Prime Minister Modi's tweet also coming in. In fact, this is, of course, the office of Tarique Rahman. And, of course, here you see a lot of, posters of Begum Khaleda Zia, Tarique Rahman, And what the Prime Minister's message says is that this victory shows the trust of the people of Bangladesh in your leadership. India will continue to stand in support of a democratic, progressive and inclusive Bangladesh. I look forward to working with you to strengthen our multifaceted relations and advance our common development goals. So a fairly clear message. The Prime Minister of India making it clear that he wants to work with Tarique Rahman and advance the common development goals and multifaceted relations. And of course, also highlighting the fact that the people of Bangladesh trust Tarique Rahman's relationship, and India will continue to support a democratic, progressive and inclusive Bangladesh. Very important message from Prime Minister Narendra Modi pretty early in the day. In fact, to congratulate, but the election results have not yet been officially notified yet. But it is absolutely clear that it is going to be Tarique Rahman who will take over as the next Prime Minister of Bangladesh. What we've been given to understand is that within the next 3 or 4 days, probably by Monday, a new government should be in place in Bangladesh, and they won't delay it, they won't drag it beyond that, is what the press advisor to Chief Advisor Mohammad Yunus also said in an interview to NDTV. So this is going to move fast now. Things are going to move fast, and Tarique Rahman will have the mantle of leadership and the responsibility of taking Bangladesh forward and pulling it out of the turbulent times it's seen in the recent past. And of course, he can also count on support from neighbors like India. And of course, he has reiterated that he wants to have a relationship based on mutual understanding, trust.
In fact, this swift public outreach, Saurabh, it does signal the continuity in India's neighbourhood-first approach, as you are highlighting. The focus also shifts on how New Delhi recalibrates engagement with a BNP-led dispensation. I just want to ask you, how is this message likely to be viewed in Dhaka? As routine diplomatic courtesy or something more than that, considering it's coming in from Prime Minister Modi and the neighbourhood?
But this is a routine diplomatic message, but India and Bangladesh have had a complicated relationship in the past few months. And there have been multiple layers added to it, and there have been political, sort of internal political statements that have been made vis-a-vis India. And that is something that India wouldn't be looking at, because this is a purely diplomatic political message, I beg your pardon, the diplomatic congratulatory message that, of course, is being sent by the Prime Minister. Bangladesh's biggest neighbor is India, and that is something that's, irrespective of what's happened in the last few months, that relationship is age-old, and there is, of course, has to be continuity. And with the installation of a democratically elected government with a political mandate, it is, of course, basic courtesy for leaders to congratulate each other on political victories, and that's something that's happened. In fact, this is a basic political courtesy, a diplomatic courtesy, and that's exactly what Prime Minister Modi has done in sending this message. In fact, the messaging is also very clear, but again, very basic, that we work together for our common goals, we build on our multifaceted relationship, and your victory shows that the people of Bangladesh have trust in your leadership. There's nothing more to it, but it's a very strong message, it's a clear message, it's a political courtesy and a diplomatic message.
As always, Saurabh, thank you so much. We'll continue to track the latest developments with you as far as Dhaka is concerned. Well, Prime Minister Modi has congratulated Tarique Rahman after the Bangladesh Nationalist Party has claimed a decisive win in Bangladesh's parliamentary elections. This is as per early outcomes, as we await an official declaration as well. But let me just break down for you why this message matters, beginning with swift diplomatic recognition. The Prime Minister's public outreach, it signals India's readiness to work with the incoming leadership in Bangladesh. And in diplomacy, as you know, timing is substance. Early recognition reduces uncertainty and it reassures markets as well as institutions crucially. It recognizes historic India-Bangladesh ties as well. There's continuity despite political change. India has maintained close working ties with former Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina. A BNP-led government now represents a political shift in Dhaka. So our Prime Minister's message signals continuity, at least in India's intent, in India's neighborhood first doctrine, irrespective of party changes across the border. There are also strategic stakes for India because Bangladesh is critical for border stability along our eastern frontier, counter-terror cooperation as well, and connectivity to our country's northeast. Trade and energy partnerships cannot be ignored, so a stable, cooperative Dhaka is actually quite central to India's eastern strategy. One cannot ignore the China factor as well because Bangladesh has deep economic engagement with China while also maintaining strong ties with India. So the new government that comes in, it will have to continue their balancing act as far as both the powers are concerned. Our early outreach coming in from the Prime Minister seeks to ensure strategic space is not ceded. There will also be a focus on the development and connectivity agenda because key projects are in the pipeline. They're likely to remain in focus, whether it's rail and road connectivity, inland waterways cooperation, energy grid integration, trade facilitation. And you have to focus on the language that has just been used by the Prime Minister in his post on X. He has categorically said that he's used the word common development goals. It signals emphasis on economic independence. And the political signaling at home and abroad is something that's in focus as well because this message underscores India's support for a democratic, a progressive and inclusive Bangladesh. This positions India as a stable partner during this major political transition. Joining us for further clarity on the broadcast at the moment, we are joined by Head of South Asia Eurasia Group, Pramit Pal Chaudhary. Thank you so much for your time, Mr. Chaudhary. It is being seen as a historic shift as far as the political playground is concerned in Bangladesh. Your first comments coming in as Tarique Rahman seems set to take over the top post. What are the first 5 takeaways now that the BNP is going to be at the helm of affairs in Bangladesh?
The preliminary numbers, obviously the BNP, which was expected to win somewhere between half to 2/3 of the vote, is now looking like it'll go for get 2/3. That will mean a great degree of stability can be expected now. This will be very important because of the economy. BNP is in many ways the pragmatic pro-business party of Bangladesh. It always has been. So we can expect a decent relationship with them simply on the grounds that India is economically so important to them. The voter turnout was a little less than expected at about 61%, given that this is seen as a sort of restoration of a country that's never really had or very rarely had a totally free election. But I think if looking at the preliminary numbers, we've seen a reasonably low turnout or a lower turnout than expected in Awami supports areas of strong support among the Awami League. And that would indicate that many of them decided to stay home. But preliminary numbers or anecdotal evidence indicates that the minority vote came out, the Hindus and Buddhists, Christian vote came out reasonably strong, and a lot of them seem to have voted BNP. Which is something I think they saw as a signal from Delhi earlier before the election that the BNP would be preferred as far as India is concerned to the Jamaat. Overall, good news for India. India and the Indian government and the BNP had really worked out a broad relationship much earlier in negotiations here. And Tarique Rahman, I know in private conversations with people in Bangladesh, has made it very clear that India is a country that he wants to develop a stable relationship with.
Right. Ms. Chaudhry, my colleague Saurabh Gupta has been tracking the nitty-gritties on Ground Zero in Dhaka for us. I believe, Saurabh, you have a question for Mr. Chaudhry.
Yes, good morning, sir. Thank you for joining us on NDTV. What I'd like to ask you, if one reads into the statements that Tarique Rahman has made as far as his foreign policy doctrine is concerned, which is Pindi Noy, Dilli Noy, which means that he's going to be equidistant from Pakistan and India, and of course put Bangladesh first. That's been the doctrine that he's articulated. Now, in this context, this seems to be a shift from the doctrine that the interim government was following, which is a closer relationship with Pakistan, pivoting towards Pakistan. Now, how soon do you see the change in approach kicking in when it comes to the relationship between India and Bangladesh, with Prime Minister Modi's congratulatory message already coming in this morning?
I expect within the next few months, if not the next few weeks, we'll start to see at least symbolic action by India. One of them would be reopening or allowing free border trade between India and Bangladesh, especially on the West Bengal side. I think we'll also see some moves on allowing exports. India had put some restrictions, though partly because of instability in Bangladesh and Bangladeshi textile exports. We buy about $1 billion worth of apparel from Bangladesh. So we'll see a bit of a change of that. But a lot of this is going to really, especially on the economic front, on Bangladesh stabilizing itself. The problem has really been Western companies or Korean or Japanese companies moving, diversifying away from Bangladesh. We'll also have to see what the level of when Tarique Rahman is sworn in, what is the level of Indian participation. I would expect a minimum foreign minister, but potentially Modi himself flying in. That would be a good move if that were to happen. Yes, the Yunus government, and you should point out Jamaat in its own election manifesto, had said that they would prioritize relations with Muslim countries. That is not in the BNP's manifesto, which has said very clearly that neighboring countries would be where they would be looking at a good relationship. Yes, they would definitely officially take, and we'll see, a quote non-aligned position regarding India, Pakistan, and China. But Pakistan has very little to offer. And one thing I think India would like to see is that defense purchases made by the Bangladesh military, though that's somewhat independent of the government. What type of weapons are you going to be buying? Second, there has been talk about Bangladesh military trying to reinforce the area around the Siliguri corridor. That's been a concern to India. That is in a very vulnerable part of the country, and maybe some, at least, negotiations between the two sides on that would be very useful. But I see that coming in maybe 6 to 8 months from now.
Mr. Chaudhary, as always, thank you so much for making time for us. This is a pivotal moment in South Asian politics, it's quite clear, and the answers will shape the next few years of regional alignment. We'll continue to track the latest as far as the neighborhood is concerned and Bangladesh's final official result is concerned. For now, let's turn our attention to the nitty-gritties of how the BNP has fared so far. It has claimed absolute majority in the Bangladesh polls, though the counting of votes is still underway. We'll continue to track as soon as the official results are in.